What's going on, everyone? Today we're here with Kellen and Dr. Tina Coleman. Now, I know you remember Dr. Tina Coleman before she came on the platform and spoke about nursing. Well, sitting next to her, I'm pretty sure you know the guy with the eyeglasses that some of you were saying things about his glasses. And I'll let him explain about his glasses to you guys, but that's not the purpose of why they're here. They're here today to talk about their children's book, London and Sydney. Now, Kellen and Tina, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Boy, y'all, how long y'all been married? Y'all talking in unison.
We've been married this is our 10th year in marriage, for 10 years total. We've known each other for about 15 or 16.
15 or 16, yeah, because you're answering each other in unison like a choir. I just know you've been together for a long time. So let me ask you a question, Dr. Tina. How did you find the time to write any kind of book?
Well, Phil, I always say you make time for the things that matter to you. And as we get more into the conversation, you're going to see this is one of the areas, the issues that I care the most about: education, number one; reading, number two; and then building the self-esteem of young African American girls, or Black girls, I should say. And this book is a culmination of all those three aspects. And so I had to make time to do it.
So I was looking at the cover, London and Sydney Explore the World. One thing I did notice, what I liked the natural hair. I like that. Now, is that something that you like to promote with little girls, is natural hair?
Yes, my daughters both have natural hair, and they're going to for a while because I don't have time to be doing perms on little kids' hair. But anyway, so I think if I can help it until they're old enough to make a decision on their own, I like to keep their hair natural until at least they're 18. And that's something that grew up in natural hair, and it's part and parcel of who we are as a people. Now, if you decide to braid your hair, wear a weave, or whatever else, that's your prerogative. And but I think that for young girls, they should learn how to fall in love with your hair and in its natural state.
All right, so Kellen, I know every day, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me call his name before. He's did a video on here before. This guy has really helped us get a lot of good interviews and help us grow the platform, but he's here today to talk about a book, not about what he do here. So Kellen, to answer a question from the people from the last video, what's going on with the glasses, brother?
It's my style. It's my style. Eyes very sensitive to light. And, I always, as even a kid, had different glasses, prescription, and it was never an issue, especially to those who mattered in my life. What I was telling you is, if I was blind, when people say, "What's up with the glasses?" It's my style, and no one ever says anything. And those who do really need to get a life today.
Boy, okay. Now let me tell you about Kellen. Kellen is very snappy. If he was sitting in my seat, ladies and gentlemen, I think he would be riding down on people a lot more than probably I would. I try to keep some composure, but I try.
I've known Kellen for 10 years, and he's always, these are prescription glasses, and it's always, I think his glasses turn dark when there's a lot of light. And, with filming, you always get light shone right in your face. So I think he's always worn his glasses. I can't believe it's an issue.
Oh, no, it's not an issue for me. Hey, like I said, look, there's no problem. We were just answering the question from the last video because you know how people are so concerned with what people do in the video instead of listening to it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this, and it used to be a thing with even teachers, whatnot, depending on the different shades and which ones. But I'm going to keep this look going. It's working for me.
So let's talk about the children's book itself. What inspired the children's book? Why a children's book? Because there's a lot of things that you could write about.
Yeah, the children's book, I wrote a book when we were living in Texas on the Christian industry. And that too is on sale on Amazon and does fairly well. But the children's book is because we've traveled due to just what we like to do. We don't have to go buy, Chanel bags and a whole bunch of just other items and not trying to keep up with the Joneses. So we always, even when we met in Grambling, we would travel, whether it was the Greyhound bus. I mean, that was our travels from Florida to California.
Oh, no.
And with our kids, you don't have to stop traveling as long as you prioritize your money. So we've always traveled. And with my wife even going to residency, we said, we've been to over 22 cities and places with the girls, a couple countries, at least with London. I said, I have a book and I'm going to document it. And I started it when we were in Texas, and it cost so much to do a book because I didn't know how to do it any other way. And I had to put it on the back burner. And then when my mother was getting sick, I said, I really got to push this book idea. So through Cyrus Webb, who you've been on his show, his radio program before out of Mississippi, I asked him, did he know any illustrators? And I wanted a African-American illustrator. The one that I had before did great, but I wanted someone who could really touch those experiences that are unique to us. So I found one, Ron Bryant, out of Florida, and he's a Patreon member here on the Advise Show too. So shout out to Ron Bryant. And we started working on this book together, and I always knew I wanted to do this book, but I also know what I had the stories laid out. I had the words laid out. What I did not have laid out is the art, the design, and that's where my wife came in, because Ron and I are a couple dudes just talking, and he said we would have had these kids looking like some Power Rangers, but thank God for a good wife.
Yeah. I mean, 'cause like I said, when I saw the cover and I saw the way the drawings were, I said, whoa, that looks pretty good. Because with children's books, you just never know what people are going to do with them. Now, how can this book inspire young kids in our community to start traveling?
Well, I think it can start with the parent saying they can travel. Even, we focused on Texas for this this book, for the state of Texas. So even if we know Texans love to stay in Texas a lot of times, right? But there's so much to see in Texas, so many places to go. So we go to San Antonio, we see the Riverwalk, and Austin and Houston, Dallas. We even hit Lubbock, Texas, where we lived for 4 years. So it can really show people, the different places they can go with their kids, because you don't have to leave the kids at home. You take them with you, and that hopefully is a spark to do it locally.
And Phil, if I may interject here for just a second, talking about what made us write the book in the first place is different, because Kellen's inspiration was different from mine. My inspiration for writing this book, or being part of this project, really it stems from the fact that when my oldest daughter was born in London, I tried to find books about Black girls, and every book that I found, and there were great books, granted, were mostly about the civil rights movement, slavery, discrimination, and it was just a common theme in a lot of African American books. And I grew up reading African American authors like Chinua Achebe and Wole Soyinka, who are Nobel Prize winning authors. And I struggled to find books where my daughter could identify with. And I wanted to write a book that told everyday stories, not to say the issues of civil rights movement and racism or slavery are not important, but it's the Black experience is a little bit more than that. And I found that the Black experience had been summarized in this one lane, and that's all we talked about. And you have a whole series about Barbie going to the beach. I'm like, okay, Black people go to the beach too. Where's our book about that? And so for me, it was really about owning your narrative. That's something I'm big on. Is I write what I want my children to experience and what I want all the children around the world to experience. And I think the Black experience is very rich. Granted, there are parts of our history that are very important, but everyday stories as well. I think children, when they can identify and relate to those, it really goes a long way to building self-esteem.
Yeah, because one big problem that we have in our community is that a lot of us don't even get out of our neighborhoods or our cities. That's how bad it is. Shoot, forget leaving the state or traveling to different, areas of the United States and then leaving the U.S. Because a lot of Black people, a lot of times, if you look at it, they're hostage here. They don't have a passport, and a passport isn't something that's so expensive that you can't get. So why do you think that we as Black people just do not do any traveling, even within the United States?
I think that the traveling isn't even just a Black thing. It's an American thing. I think the last that I read, 70% of Americans don't have a passport. and that, I did I do, my little tutorial videos too on YouTube, even though I'm not a YouTuber, but sometimes I just want to push knowledge out there and show people how easy it is to get a passport. But then it's a thing of, depending on where you are and your finances, and it used to be that maybe if you didn't know somebody in New York, it might be hard to be there. So if you didn't have a cousin there, I know my first travel from Oakland, California was to Colorado. I had an aunt there. And then, my next travel was to LA, and then I was going to New York as a young person, but you had to know someone. Now, when I started traveling overseas, it was about social media. You could meet somebody online. You could have 5 friends and a place to stay through, a MySpace. And so it's a mental thing, and it has to be in you. Traveling is not for everybody. Some people like to stay at home. Some people are homebodies. I just enjoy traveling. Has helped me more than my master's degree in knowledge that I've gained, because I read books. So I don't need a university to teach me, something that's in a book. I can go and read a book. There were benefits of the school. You want to say something?
I think one of the reasons, to go back to your question, why people don't travel is because people are uninformed. Maybe they're worried about the cost, potentially, or they're worried about the challenges that they're going to encounter in these new locations. But let's forget about international travel for a second. The U.S. is rich. There are 50 states. I mean, it's amazing to me. I've only been to maybe 35, 36, but it's amazing to me the breadth and the culture in each and every state. And my daughters are Black, they're African, I'm African, my husband's African American, so they're really African American. And I wanted them, or we wanted them, to experience both parts of their culture. I think Texas is a beautiful state, we spent 4 years there, but the Pacific Northwest is just as rich and beautiful. I think if we get out of our comfort zones, people get too comfortable mentally, physically, and even in an emotional space where they do not want to experience new things. And that's what the value of projects like ours brings, because it brings that experience to your bedroom, to your house, to your place of living. You're like, wow, if I can see people who look like me doing it, potentially I can do it myself as well.
Yes, because we just don't have enough examples of that. And a lot of times when you have another brother or sister tell you, hey, I went over here, and a lot of times we do think it's so expensive and we can't do it. And then somebody break it down like, man, no, it don't cost that much. And they give you the game on what it is. And then we get more learned, because that's how I want it for my kids. I always said I want my kids to be around different places, different people, not just one environment. And it's sad that some people think their whole world, whether they Black, white, or in between, they think their whole world is just where they live. And any other view they have other people, they get through the television, which is the idiot box. And that's where they get it from, which is very bad.
Thank God for YouTube and other outlets, so they can see, what's really going on.
And Kellen and I are very cheap. We will travel on $2. We've done it before, right? Remember?
Yeah, it's not that expensive.
It's not that expensive. Right. You know what you're doing. And we've also helped other family members and friends plan travels and book travels and different experiences with us as well. So I think that you can do it individually. You can also do it as a community, and there's value in both.
Let me ask you a question. You said you used the word cheap. Maybe we want to use the word frugal. You fly Frontier Airlines?
No, but we've flown Spirit from Dallas to Jamaica for it was like $100 and something.
And I'll never do that again. I will never fly.
And that's what happened when you go cheap.
Exactly. We are super cheap. That's what happens. I like that term frugal as well. I think for us now, I think one of the biggest challenges really of this whole process of training and living, I think doing medical training, it's really been living on a budget, because before it was just Kellen and I was like, we're bored. You want to go to, I don't know, Montreal for the weekend? It's like, come on, let's do it. And then some kids show up, and all of a sudden you have to start budgeting seriously. And I think obviously it took a little bit of adjusting at first, but it took, like Kellen said, it took conscious decisions. I just remember posting a nail picture to my sisters maybe a few weeks ago, and I was like, I haven't gotten my nails done in 3 months, or 3 years. I haven't got my nails done, but I've traveled, So I just think you do what you value. And I know some women that will not go a week or two without getting the nails done. And for me, it's just not that serious.
Yeah, when you have those kids, like I was saying earlier to you guys, I was at the track meet all day, and it was raining, and you just, like I said, push your life on hold for those kids, and that's what we do as parents. We love our children. It's about them trying to make their life good, successful, and we do make some sacrifices for our children. We do,
and they will pay off by God's grace.
That's right. It do pay off when you do that. And if we had more and more of that, like really more and more of that of in our community, not to say we don't, we have a lot of great people in our community doing the same things. But the emphasis on family and the emphasis on keeping our children well-rounded, get the propaganda out of their mind from this system and deprogramming their mind from this mess that they try to teach them. That way we could, definitely be better as a community. But let's talk about the different avenues of getting this book. How can people get this book?
People can get this book right now on Amazon, whether they want to do paperback or Kindle. It's about a week, at most 2 away, I'm told, to be able to be on Apple and, Barnes and Nobles and all that. And, the library, we are pushing to the libraries, because with this book, we also opened up a publishing company called Fomenke Publishing, and we'll be publishing all type of different books from that company. So, they can hopefully sooner than later get it from the library. But, ask your local library, especially in a week, because if you request it from the library, they have to at least make an inquiry and, maybe give it a week or so and ask them, because nobody buys books from Amazon. And so it's just a processing thing. And that's something we couldn't really, it's just one of those things that got tied up. So Amazon, London and Sydney, book, type it in.
Well, that's one thing I'm gonna have to disagree with you on about buying books. Most of the books I've ever bought has been through Amazon. So I know you got them on Kindle because I want a book in my hand. Mm-hmm. Where I can look at it, and digital thing is great at times, but what if I don't have no power? Sometimes I just want to pick up a book and read it and educate myself, especially, with the stuff that we are dealing with here on this channel. We always got to stay educated. So guys, make sure that we'll put the link in the comment section to Amazon. We'll pin it at the top. Pick up the book, London and Sydney. Support Black authors. We have this great couple that's been married 10 years plus, supporting Black family, and that's what we want to do.
Bill, I want to end with one comment. I know you're wrapping up really quick. I want to end with a sobering statistics about minority books. So in this country, only 15% of all children's books are written about minority characters, period, including Hispanic, Chinese, whatever, Asian, whatever else. So only 15%. Out of that 15%, 30% of those writers are Caucasian. So the idea of us getting our stories out is very, very critical, because first of all, we cannot control our narrative if people are writing our stories for us. And so I want to use this opportunity to reach out to every single potential writer or book author or illustrator out there. If you have any ideas in a project, contact Kellen on Fomenke Publishing. We want this to be an opportunity where all the minority voices are heard as well.
All right, so make sure you follow Dr. Tina's advice medically and on this as well, and purchase a book and be supportive. So, definitely thank you guys for joining us today and letting us know about the book London and Sydney Explore the World, Texas edition. That's a good way to start. And you guys have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.